Caribbean 600 is especially very interesting because of lots of bends and curves and lots of changes of courses. We count as few as 42 waypoints, I think, right now. I'm sure they're gonna the number's gonna increase. So that's a lot of activity. That's a lot of activity, and I think having Magnus on board as well, we will. I presume we will override a little bit, you know, the user's manual of the boat.
So it's absolutely fantastic to be somewhere for such champagne sailing with good winds, sunshine, heat, and we're all very much looking forward to it.
Today, because it's looking like 15 knots, maybe 20 knots over the night, and as Northern Child's quite a heavy displacement boat, she's 26 years old, and so she likes wind and chop. So wind and chop is good for us because that means that we'll do better.
It's nice to be in Antigua again. I haven't been here for a long time, and I hope the race goes as quickly as possible so we can come back here.
Cool. And it turns out we got not just us but Windrose this year, so 2 super yachts in the race for the first time, and unbelievably we were on exactly the same handicap.
This is a very different type of offshore racing than most of us are used to. Most of us are used to sailing boats sort of 35 to 50 foot and are rather more extreme in terms of offshore racing discomfort. This boat is wonderfully appointed.
There are so many jewels within the fleet. For example, we've got Hydrocarbon Logic, which is a Beneteau 50, and Northern Child, which is a Swan 51, and they should be having their own battle, and that's what this is all about. There's no chance of most of these boats beating something like Rambler 100 around the track, but they're going to have fun all the way. Looking like we could have around 20 knots of breeze, so this is going to be a fast, fun, exciting race. subject to officially ratifying it. You've smashed Leopard's record set for this race in 2009 by about 4 hours.
Yes.
And just tell us what the experience was like. What was it like out there, hooning around the Caribbean?
Well, I think for me, first thing is that this boat is a Volvo 70 on steroids. We've talked about that before, and it is. But the boat is a handful. It is 10 feet longer than the 90-footer, but it feels about 100 feet longer. And that's why it helps a lot to have the Puma crowd with us, because they have raced Volvo 70s for years, but not on steroids. And I think they had a good time too.
Last night around this time, I think, actually a little earlier, going around the top of St. Bart's at about, we were going 26 knots with breaking waves from here to the end of the pilings. And it was, I just leaned over, I was staring, I leaned over to our navigator, Tom Mattis, and said, man, I hope you know what you're doing. Because if you don't, this is going to end in tears.
The biggest issue navigation-wise around here, apart from not hitting stuff, is managing the lees of the island. You've got some pretty short, steep islands, and which throw some big lees. And in boats that travel this quickly, there's a massive penalty for stopping. So yeah, you spend a lot of time working on how to get round the corners in good time. Guadeloupe was interesting. We actually managed to get through there pretty well in the end. You never feel as though you got it fully in hand as you go into these lees, but we actually got through there pretty well. And a big sea state off Desirade, which caught us out a little bit today. It was with a boat like this, it just wants, and you're starting to reach, it wants to go very, very fast, and we had to sail pretty slow for half an hour or so, just trying to keep it in one piece for a bit.
So it's one of the few classic races you can do in the world where you can actually take your super yacht and compete in a classic event. Although it's a fairly new classic, I don't think many people would argue that it's now, it can now be mentioned in the same sentence as the Fastnet race in the Sydney Hobart, the Newport Bermuda.
Well done! Woohoo! Well done, well done!
Katie, you got about 4 foot spread. Swing it out a little bit. Great stuff. Brilliant.
Nice work, Louis.
Messing around, he's gone.
What was really cool was the back of Montserrat.
Okay.
Because you can see all the pyroclastic flows on that side.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were leading up to the first quarter basically, and then the big guys come and ate us up.
So currently we're sitting in third. We're waiting for hydrocarbon Beneteau 50 and another 47.7 to finish to see where our overall place will be. So we might get knocked down, but fortunately the wind's died, so maybe not.
It's funny to have, you know, what could become one of the good great ocean races on the doorstep kind of thing. I've always thought of them as being on the other side of the world, you know, Sydney, Hobart and Fastnet and so on. So having it right here, I think is going to be a great thing, and hopefully the event keeps growing.